Call. Is this the third edition, Brad?
That it is. That it is.
Okay, we are recording. I'm going to share my screen. I'm Chris, and that's Brad. Okay, so let me just see here if I can present. Last time I lost one of the screens for slideshow. Yep. There it is. I want to take and put this one over here. There it is. And I want to share the proper screen. Last time I shared the presentation screen, and this time I'm going to share this one. Can you see that correctly, Brad?
I can too.
That's so great. And yeah, so welcome everyone. And yeah, so Brad and I were talking, and I know Mark had requested we talk about Rife Machines, that sort of thing. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to go round table as we designed to everyone to sort of give their input on the top three sort of questions or input. And we look forward to everybody's input and look forward to learning tonight and making space for everyone. And let me see here. This one here, I should be able to go like that. That's right. So let's just be mindful. Let's be mindful that we might be recorded, which we are, because we do put the replay on our Facebook page, LYME Community Call. Everyone takes responsibility for the educational information that they get tonight, how they understand it, how they interpret it, and how they use it. And no one else is really liable for what you do. Okay, so those are the basic rules, as well as being open to others' opinions. Try to speak 2 to 3 minutes. I know we sometimes go over to 10, 5 to 10. I should probably put 5 to 10, right? I think that's more fair. So let's say 5 minutes. And obviously you can share treatments and solutions, but no direct selling, but PMs are okay in the background. And we're all on Facebook pretty much. And you can see who's maybe in the call on the Facebook, and you can also see here who's on the call. Just in using Zoom, as you may know, if you have, when I put the presentation on, it's going to reduce the number of people you see. What you would do is you would click on the icon with the 9 dots, looks like a keypad, and then you can pull the corner of it down if you're on a computer, and then you'll be able to see everybody, which I just done on my other screen. All right, so that's how that works. Okay, good. So why don't you take it from here, Brad?
Sure. Yeah, a big part of the inspiration for having these calls, and I'm experienced a Lyme traveler, and one of the biggest things was the amount of isolation. You know, many of us end up very isolated from family, friends. A lot of different things happen, jobs. And I found definitely that once I started speaking with people, I found people to talk to, and what I found was people who were going through this were really the best people to share with, who could really understand. And you know, so these calls, we're looking to do that, especially even with COVID these days. People are even out and about less, so this helps get different people together on more than just a group. We get to know each other. We're getting to recognize different faces and know each other. So that's great. And one of the biggest things is at different times, I'm sure many of us have felt rather hopeless, helpless, getting together, hearing from others, hearing some success stories, some things that work for some. Never are we going to say that something, you know, this is the answer. It works for everyone, nothing like that. But we start finding patterns of things that work for some people and work for a few more. So it's great to get together and hear what people are doing to help themselves, because a lot of us really are on our own with this. We're not getting too much help from the we'll just call it the system. So that's kind of the whole inspiration why we're having these calls.
Yeah. So the formats, I'm going to do an intro to Rifing tonight. Then we're going to do the community share section, which is the intro to yourself, brief intro, your Rifing experience and questions, and how did it assist you? And then afterwards on Facebook, Brad's going to do the summary post, and we'll post a video replay from tonight. All right. And I think Jazz, you're upside down right now. I don't know how you're doing that, but you're doing a bit of an astronaut there.
How's this? Is that better?
There. Yeah,
okay,
you are.
I can't see myself. It's all, you guys have to let me know.
Oh, there you go. Okay, good.
Perfect.
All right, yeah. So yeah, there you go. It's harder on the phone if you, So on the phone, it'll put
It is.
4 or 6 people. So what you just swipe to the right and you can see everybody as you swipe around, even though you
Oh,
don't
look
see
at
yourself.
that.
Isn't that
Oh,
amazing?
hi
Yeah.
guys.
And then as we do the community share, we're gonna highlight that person. So that'll spotlight it. It'll force it onto everyone's screen, so you don't have to swipe around. That's why I do the spotlight. So we're going to talk about Dr. Rife's discoveries, resonance frequencies, Rife Machines, key brands and features, and then typical frequencies, and then we'll get into the community roundtable. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes to do that. Plus, we're going to have our special guest, Phil Jacobs, going to drop in and do some beautiful music for us as an interlude at around 8 o'clock. All right. No one else is trying to get in, so we're going to start. Okay, so Dr. Rife's discoveries, and what I was just going to do was just talk about Dr. Royal Rife a bit. The best way to do that is actually to show it on a browser. Dr. Royal Rife. Not everyone calls him doctor. I looked it up actually the other day. It's from a German. It's a physicist PhD that he was awarded by a German university. And so this is Royal Rife. I like to go to images always on this. And so what he was, one of the things he's best known for is he was a tool and die maker, and he made this microscope, this beautiful microscope that no one had ever made to this size and power before. And of course, Tesla had already been around, so he was aware of Tesla. I'm trying to get that centered, but it's not working out for me. I'll just zoom in like that. So Tesla's already around. He was aware of what Tesla had worked on. And Tesla was over right in Niagara Falls and working with something called the violet ray machine and something called the Tesla coil, which was a specially wrapped electrical coil that had certain properties that he was doing research and development with. And then, so then Royal Rife was doing this, and he started playing around with frequency and vibration, and he had his microscope, and then he realized that as he had looked at certain cells under the microscope, because remember the cell, the brain is in the cell, and it has a doorway actually. I don't know if you know that. It's called the MOR. It's the mortal oscillatory rate. It's like the front door of your house. So that's like the on-off switch. So it has a cell, and he found that starting at 0 megahertz going all the way up, 0 hertz going all the way up to maybe 30, 40,000, he would just watch, even though he couldn't hear anything at certain frequencies. He would just put that beside the cell, and he was looking at it in the microscope, and at certain frequencies, the thing started shaking, like it started going crazy. He goes, that's interesting. And he found that he could actually record the resonance frequencies when those cells would vibrate. Almost like, when you have a glass and then a wine glass and someone sings, they hit a note and bang, the glass just shatters. It's because it has a resonance frequency that's its on-off switch. So when you slam that glass with that sound, with that voice, it disintegrates. It falls apart. So that's the whole idea that Rife discovered. And so he discovered two particular viruses that were related to cancer in these cancer patients. And he went through using his microscope. He had, I think it was 16 cancer patients. And he went through on the microscope and found that there were certain frequencies associated with those two viruses. I think it was HHV6 and another one. And so he then applied that to the 16 people, this frequency to shake up the cell walls and try to break them like a glass. And he was successful, supposedly, of helping these people clear their disease. Now, remember, there's really 4 things that do it. This isn't like a magic pill or anything. The 4 things that you have to have typically to be successful, or 5 things, is you have to have a positive mindset. You have to have good food nutrition, and you need to have clear detox pathways. And then you do the rifing, and all of that is just supposed to help your immune system. Number 5 is a strong immune system. So sometimes you're rebuilding your immune system and clearing your detox pathways and getting your nutrition on. You're trying to have a positive mindset. So there's all those like 4 or 5 things you have to do. So if you fall off one, it might throw off the others, and then it's not going to work out. So it's really those 5 areas. So there's psychospiritual and physical things you have to look out for. So once he claimed this, it was sort of this tribune actually caused a bunch of the issue, because then all the medical doctors, actually a gentleman by the name of Dr. Fishbaum, who's in charge of, I think, the FDA at the time, who had just inserted a lot of gentlemen into the boards of top medical universities and hospitals across North America, funded by certain parties. And so when they found out, they went in, they just destroyed all this stuff because it was more empirical medicine, right? And so it's like, what you find, then you go with it. No, we're going to do it this way. So it all got destroyed. And then there's just a lot of news. I'm not sure what's true or not about what happened to him, similar to Nikola Tesla, but it sort of was put to the side. But there was a bunch of people, including some of his assistants, who were able to continue his work. And then there are a bunch of people worldwide that continue with these, trying to figure out the frequencies using the microscope and other manners to figure out what frequencies there are for each type of organ and disease, and even, because there's all these resonance, what are called resonance frequencies, that harmonic point or multiple harmonic frequencies that make up that particular organ or yourself as a person or as food. So what can happen is that there was another guy named Dr. Ball. So any questions at this point about Royal Rife? He figured out that there are resonance frequencies, right? And he was able to use some square waves to hammer down the cell walls for those cancer patients, as well as, you know, positive mindful thinking and everything. Any questions there, Beth? You're good?
I got one. Can you hear me?
Yes, Darren, go.
I didn't hear it all. So Nikola Tesla was doing whatever he was doing at the you know, the Great Falls or whatever. Now, what was his correlation to Nikola Tesla? I missed that. Sorry.
There wasn't a straight correlation, but they were all doing this whole energy work, this whole vibration and energy work for healing was around at the time. There was a machine called a Renew Life right around this time. Renew Life. So to find one, you have to type it in like this: Renew Life Quack Machine Tesla. There we go. So if you do that, this is a whole other topic, but let's do an actual Tesla one, a Renew Life one. So this is a machine. There were a couple tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands around of these in use in the early 1900s. So this one is to work on warts and other things. This is a larger globule and it shoots out like a violet ray, a purple ray that reconstitutes the cells through both vibration and through this violet ray. This one's for regrowing hair, and it creates this ozone. It creates ozone, which is good for you. Yeah, I know. I've been using this one. It's not really working so well, is it? I mean, it could be worse, I guess. I guess they still have some. So, I have a machine, one of these machines, and then this one is just the main ray that you use. You hold this main metal piece just here, and you can have ozone, or you can put it here and it will shoot through, and you can try to activate your pineal gland. Like, there's lots of stuff you can do with this thing. So you can only buy them on eBay now. And so what was interesting too is the FDA actually outlawed all these machines, and everyone had to destroy them all because doctors actually had them in doctors' offices around the same time. And so there was this whole, to answer your question, there was this whole area of practice. There's actually machines like this that people use today that look the same with even these tubes, and they use them for coaching your lymphatic system down and all these things. If you go to some spas, they use them in those areas, and you'll find them, but they're not the same as this. Is like, has a Tesla coil in here wrapped based on Tesla's design. So it's not exactly the same. All right. Okay. So yeah, energy medicine, we're really getting into this, which is cool. So energy frequency, because sound frequency vibrations all sort of the same thing. So any other questions on that? Sort of background?
One quick question.
Yeah.
For when they were doing the studies and everything with the cancer patients, and around the time that it also got shut down, what was it in the 20s or in the 30s that happened again?
I think it's around. So those ones were in the 20s. Those other machines, I think it was just in the 20s or 30s. We could Wikipedia that. there's a little bit of overlap. Wikipedia and then Tesla. That's the thing with what's so nice about we're looking at Royal Rife, right? Yeah. Nice thing about this is not the best source for Royal Rife. So he went to August 1971. He lived. So yeah, here he is in 1931. 1922, he had his first machine. And
It was the very early 30s. He was featured in Popular Mechanics.
yeah,
for his
with
machine.
certain exceptions, 1931. And then independent replica were just in the 1950s. So it looks like he figured it out in the 20s and 30s. Then they tore it all down. And then in the 50s, some other people said this beam of ray could not be independently replicated. But at the same time, earlier, just a bit around the same time, right? Earlier than that, Tesla had come up with that Tesla coil, and in the 1910s had started to distribute those, and there were tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of those machines around. The other machines, not the Rife ones. So they're all working on it in a similar time. And there is another guy that's important here called Dr. Ball. He's a German guy. And I'll put Reinhardt. There he is. Reinhardt Ball. Third doctor. Yeah, there it is. And so maybe I'll go back to his images. There he is there. And what he did was he was doing it the opposite way. He was like, I wonder if I use the meridian points, which is really an electrical system that are in the hands and feet, the Chinese meridian points, and then the teeth actually are the other end point. I wonder if I take those frequencies, I can like measure the resonance of the organs and the disease and all that sort of stuff. Can I measure the resonance frequency of those things inside a person? And so he sort of experimented with that. Well, they want me to subscribe. And the thing that's very interesting is that then that sort of took off because it allowed, I'm going to go to the images, they're always better. The images allow, the machine allows you to sort of get a resonance score. Remember I told you everything has a resonance. It's not coming up as easily right now. We're just getting his picture today. But there's a resonance score for everything. But I was just going through my agenda slides because the thing that we were going to cover was resonance frequency. So Dr. Rife discovered this. He sort of around the same time as Tesla. And then he had discovered these resonance frequencies. And then Dr. Ball took that and then he figured out how to sort of put it on a scale of 0 to 100. And then people started making these Rife machines after what Ball had done, after his name. And there are certain key brands and key features of every Rife machine that we can look at. So there's Phil.
Sure.
Do you want to? I'm going to spotlight you. How's your day going? You look pretty happy today. I mean, you're always happy, right?
It's a playful world if you want it to be, and I'm grateful to be here with you, Chris, on this call. And I was thinking, you messaged me earlier. You're like, you're up for 2 songs today. Just want to check in. And I'm like, yeah. What am I gonna play today? So
yeah, I'm gonna try to pin you. There you go. I think I did it proper now. Okay, welcome.
I think so. That's how's that sounding? Does it need to be louder, or is that good?
I don't know if you plugged it in. You know how when sometimes you plug in the vocal, you got to kick it in or something. It could be deeper. Seems a little distant. But I like your. I see you're playing with your Starlight and Star Bright. Yeah, there's some energy there. You're a sound therapy, sound energy guy.
Turn the energy on. How's that now?
That's great.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's better. So, how's everybody doing? I hope you've all had, a day of learning and being. So, I dedicate this song to you guys.
saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. A mirror in the sky, what is love? And can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons all my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, because I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Oh, take my
Thank you, Phil. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm so happy and grateful that you guys are gathering and sharing your stories. And,
Yeah.
And coming together. This is like it's a beautiful vibration when we all share. So we learn so much about ourselves, especially, and each other, and then we can share the love.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Peace, brother. Have a great rest of your session, and I'll
Thanks
see you
very
tomorrow.
much. See you tomorrow. So just continue on then with the Rife Machines, a key brand. Some of the ones you might have heard of in Canada. One of the ones from the States that's somewhat well known, especially if you're in the Rife Lime groups, is the B6 Ultra Deluxe. There's another one called the Spooky or the Spooky 2 you can get. There's another one called the Pro Gen. And then if you just sort of, that one's made in Canada. So if you do a whole bunch of like Google lookups, you can find out these things. Some of the key features though you want to look out for, especially for lime, is the carrier wave. They all don't have a carrier wave, which is sort of a deeper wave. Because with the lime, you have sort of three types of states of the lime. You have what I call the workers, the hatchlings, and the cave dwellers. And the cave dwellers are right inside your joints. And to get to those, you really need a Rife machine with a carrier wave. The other one is Royal Rife found that the most effective treatment was with something called argon noble gas. So it's usually in a very specific crystal glass tube. There's this gas that turns red when it gets heated up with the frequencies that are shaking the door, remember, of the cells. And so it's important to get some of the ones like the Progen, I think, and the Spooky, they don't have the tubes, I don't think. And there's also what's that other one? Darren, you have one, right? The GB 5000, is that right?
GB 4000.
4,000. So it's not, I think the 5,000 is like this big. How big is the 4,000? Is it like this?
It's small. It's like a Sega Genesis, like a small gaming system.
Okay, Sega Genesis. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Are there any other brands anyone's used? Just speak up and I'll add them to the list. So I'm going to add in the GB 4000. Anyone else have any other ones they've used? No? Might be on mute. No? Okay. So those are some of the common things. You can also get attachments. Some of them have attachments like some have LED lights, which are frequency 2, light is frequency. Some of them have, you can attach a PMF mat or even a ring. So you can do more people or people with larger biomasses with a ring. Sometimes they call it a Tesla ring or a Tesla coil, but it's a big one. Or you can get the PMF mat that'll help with detoxing, right? It'll move things around using sort of magnets in the mat. So that sort of thing for detoxing. All right. And so what are the typical Lyme frequencies? Well, each of these, you can buy books online and each of them will have a manual with their own frequencies they think are the frequencies to use based upon all the people that have used their machine. So some will do it in a certain time. Some will assist. Remember, I talked about those 5 things. There's the nutrition, the positive mindset, and the food nutrition positive mindset, the detox pathways. You got to get that cleared up. And you're just trying to support your immune system as much as you can, eating the right foods, and then do the rifing, and then things will usually start to flow along. All right. And so there's usually Rife programs, which are made up of a bunch of frequencies. There's usually Rife programs that are for detox specifically. There are ones for mindset. There are ones for Lyme specifically, and then ones for co-infections that typically people will run when they get these machines. Yeah, I have one here called the Doug coil. That's just a circular coil, right, Jen? Is that right, Jen? It's like a circular coil. I think it's like in a cloth. It's covered in a cloth, right? I think I have seen one of those. Doug, yeah, the Doug coil. Okay, she said yes. She's just texting. That's all good. Thank you for that. So I'm going to add Doug coil and GB 5000. And it's getting recorded in the video anyway, so we're all good. But we'll put it in the summary notes, Brad.
Got it.
Yeah. Was there anything else, Brad, that you wanted to add? before we hand it around to the table?
No, I don't think so. No, I'd be interested to hear from some of the others who have had some experience, some complete experience with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So I think, so just intro yourself, your Rifing experience questions, and how did it assist you? That's really the main part of the call now. We just want to hear from everyone. Brad's going to take notes. He's going to write the summary up. Then we'll share it with everybody, and we'll have it. So I'm not sure where I'd like to start. Should we start? I usually start at the top. So it's Sue Bunis. Sue Bunis. Sue, are you there? It's just on mute, Sue. Let's see if Sue's going to come back. Might have stepped away. This sometimes happens. Okay. Let's go to Robin and David Craig. Have you guys done any of this Rifing stuff?
We haven't, and we're interested in it. We've heard of it, and people have talked about it, but we haven't had any experience with it. And actually, my daughter is now with the group. Lorna is there somewhere.
Hey, Lorna, she's down there. Yeah, she's just the two down. It's like Hollywood Squares, isn't it?
So we just
Love
wanted
that.
to learn something about it. We do know that there's a woman in Kingston who is a practitioner and does rifing, I guess you'd call it. But
Yeah.
we didn't know very much about it. I knew it was based on frequency, so we're just learning, really. We haven't had any experience, but I'd like to hear from people that might have.
Okay,
And,
good.
Chris, I had one question about the frequencies. If a frequency has the capacity to kill a cell or kill Lyme disease, why wouldn't it also have the capacity to kill healthy tissue, like heart tissue or lung tissue?
I know. It all exists. Everything exists on similar frequencies, right? There's like overlaps. And it's a great question. I actually don't know the answer to that. I know the guy that does, but I don't know the answer to it. But what it does do is it will break up those cells, because it's a collection of frequencies we're hitting all at the same time. Usually when you run one of those Lyme programs, it's between 4 and 20 frequencies. And so it's hammering at those multiple frequencies at which that resonates. So that cell isn't just one frequency, it's a collection, a set of a bunch of them that are getting hammered. And it's like a unique set.
May I
That's
actually
unique.
help answer that as well? And just
Sure.
add one more thing to it, because that
Yeah.
is definitely a great question. And it comes,
Come on, just
yeah, of course.
talk until 9. Come
Oh,
up.
there we go. I've muted Kim. Go ahead, Jazz.
Oh, of course, yeah. So a very interesting thing when you were talking about the MOR rates, that is like a fingerprint essentially for that specific bacteria such as Lyme. And so when you put a frequency into the body, it's not just doing the frequency, it's doing a pattern as well. And so when you're on the Rife machine, you will actually feel this pattern of energy going into you. And only when you add that pattern in with the frequency will it actually affect that specific cell. Does that kind of answer the question a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. Any other questions, David?
No.
Okay. Great. Let's go on to the next person I have is Sherry. Sherry, what's your intro yourself if you had Lyme experience? I don't know if you, and then, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I did Rife treatment for Lyme disease. I was very, very ill over a year ago, basically on my deathbed. I was down to almost 100 pounds and the Lyme had actually gone into my brain. I had neurological Lyme. Couldn't get a diagnosis, couldn't get any help at Western medicine. I was lucky to come across a holistic practitioner that did Rife treatments. It took me about 6 months of treatment, changing my diet, making sure the detox systems were going. I feel better now than I did since I was a teenager. I was told 24 years ago that it was fibro, but we know now that the whole time it was Lyme. All I can say is it worked for me. I do not have one symptom of joint pain, muscle pain. The brain is taking a little bit while to heal, but it is always the last one to heal. But compared to where I was in the state I was a year ago, I have no symptoms coming back at all.
So how long did it start? Like, So how long did you have it again?
They told me 24 years ago I had fibromyalgia, but since
Oh.
we did for the Lyme disease, I don't have any of those symptoms left at all.
Okay.
Wow.
Can I ask a question to that?
Absolutely.
So I have a similar thing. I was fibromyalgia for 13 years, and I'm learning the hard way that pretty much all fibro is Lyme or co-infections for the most part, because every person that seems to think they have fibro gets a real Lyme test. That's what it is. So I have a GB 4000. I have a guide that my question is, like, I have Lyme frequencies he's got me to start on, but I have figured out in the past few months and before, I have like SIBO and Candida and Epstein-Barr and mold and cytomegalovirus. So I've got all these different co-infections and smaller things. So it's very frustrating where I'm at right now to find out what to treat first, because in the Facebook groups they say, oh, some like a very experienced practitioner told me you got to start with the small viruses, smaller viruses first, then you work your way up to Lyme, and then people say nope, you got to do Lyme first.
That was how it was for me. It was Lyme first, and a lot of times when he was treating the Lymes, a lot of my co-infections would be knocked out at the same time, and I was left with minimal co-infections to deal with after my Lyme treatment.
Okay, so you went at the Lyme first. What machine did you use?
The BCX Ultra.
Okay, so I don't know that one. I've got the GB 4000. So another thing with my thing is the frequencies that my guide has laid out. I posted it in a Lyme Lyme disease Rifer book, and like he's got me on like for 2 times a week it's 3-hour things, and then another one's like a 3-hour or a 2-hour frequency. And everybody's saying, oh, that's too long, you're gonna hurt so bad, you go to the hospital, that's too much. And one guide said my guide doesn't know what he's talking about, and then my guide says this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So it's an absolute information.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Because I spent $3,000 on something I don't really know what to do with. And
from my understanding, my experience, we did the Lyme first, and he is slow and steady, so that I didn't herx to the point where I didn't want to continue treatment, right?
Yeah, because he's like, my guide has me on this thing 6 days a week. When I started out, I'll wait for my turn to explain it, because I've got.
Well, there's also an intensity setting, just to sort of chime in. So you got to watch out your intensity setting, and then if you have tubes or ray tubes, or if you have just the electrodes, and then how often you're doing it. And usually for rifing in general world, doesn't matter the machine, it's like 2.5 hours max a day is typically what you want to hit yourself with. And that's enough, because that'll cause enough detox. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, Sherry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, no, like for me, the key was slow and steady, right? Like you feel bad enough to have the die off going on. And if you intensify that, I don't think I could handle like more than 2 hours of treatment a day when I was at my sickest point.
Yeah, Sherry, thank you for your information. Are we allowed to ask where you got your treatment? Is that something that we're...
You could PM me afterwards. I don't think I should advertise on here.
That's what I was thinking. So I will do that. And how do we get your...
How do we PM? What is PM?
Private message. But how
on
do we
Facebook. What are you on Facebook? How do they find you on Facebook?
Herrerys, SHERRY. Last name is S as in Sam, A as in Adam, R as in Rick, A as in Adam, R as in Rick, A as in Adam, S as in Sam. Same way frontwards as backwards.
Wow, that's a good Scrabble word. Is that 7 digits?
Okay, thanks, Sherry. I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't use names on Scrabble though.
Yeah.
But you can just say it's a plant. You can say it's like a plant or something. No, they have to challenge you.
You're in the Toronto area though, Sherry?
Yes, where I was treated is close to the Toronto area.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. Why don't we jump? Anything else for Sherry? I'm gonna jump to Lorna. Is your first time?
Yeah, hi, I'm Lorna. So I'm the daughter that Robin was talking about. I guess I'm curious, like, because I'm currently doing a treatment right now. And for any treatment, I think what I'm curious about is like how you support yourself through the treatment and what you do for detox. So are there like other treatments you're doing that just have the purpose of supporting you? And then what are the detox things that you did?
Yeah, those are good questions. Brad, maybe Brad can share his experience with the detox and that sort of stuff.
Well, my biggest thing I've done with detox was diet. I just completely revamped my diet. I was fortunate enough that I did that years before I even found out about Rife treatment, and it really helped curb my symptoms. So I think diet is probably one of the most important. As far as other detox, I personally didn't really do much else specific for detoxing. I don't know if there's others who have maybe done more, had more protocols along that lines. But
Yeah, Sherry's on mute because I know
I completely quit dairy, gluten, and sugar, and it was almost for just over 3 years before I ever started on Rife, and quitting all of those things really helped. And I've continued to stay with that, even though I've been trying Rife for the past few months. So.
And have you found Rife is like, oh, this is a big question, but have you found that Rife is helping? Like, have you noticed big changes or worsening?
Again, I'm a bit of a unique case. Well, every one of us is, but I had really knocked back a lot of my Lyme symptoms. I was developing Alzheimer's. I had bad heart problems, flus, whole bunch of things that I call what were my typical Lyme symptoms. And by changing my diet, I got rid of pretty much all of that. What I didn't get rid of was some of the co-infections. Right now I'm on Rife, doing Rife mostly for Bartonella. I've got a few things with joints in my neck and stuff that's still sore, and we're working away with Bartonella. Any of my testing to see, my status with Lyme shows that I'm clear of Lyme bacteria right now. So, and what was interesting is when I first started Rifing, the testing showed that I still had Lyme bacteria in me, not at large levels, but I still had some for sure. My biggest thing is, it's a completely different topic that we may get into another time, is morgellons. My skin just started breaking out years ago with the rashes and bumps and sores and such. And we've been trying to find ways to get Rife to help with that. And that one apparently takes quite a bit of time. So that's what I've really been going for Rife treatment for, was for the skin issues. And we're still working on that.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's really.
You're welcome.
Does Sherry have anything to add, Sherry?
No, I
Detox?
have a question.
Okay. Oh, you good?
I have a question actually for Brad.
Yeah.
How did you find out about what your levels of Lyme were? I mean, is there somebody that tested that, or?
Well, that was one of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Chris introduced the one machine, a machine created by a Dr. Vole, and it's different than a Rife machine. It's a machine that puts, I've only really saw it a couple of times. It puts a frequency into you using acupuncture points, and then takes readings on what's happened after it's put that frequency through you. And from it goes through and it does things like tests for just the health of your organs. It can go in and sense your organs and test for the general health of your organs. And then it goes through and gives you a list of your food sensitivities. So lists which foods is going to be creating issues for you in your diet, and it gives you that report. And when I first started the first time, it definitely showed it. It showed me surprisingly, I'd already quit dairy, gluten, and sugar, and it showed me the bunch of the things I was eating I needed to get rid of as well. So that was eye-opening. But so that was good to know that some of the other things that I was eating were causing inflammation, even though I didn't realize it. So getting rid of those things was good.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Mhm.
Okay, let's move on to Darren. You ready? I'll spotlight you this time.
I'll try to be as brief as I can. I don't know if I'm going to be under 5 minutes here. But I'll go with where I guess I started here. So as I mentioned before, misdiagnosed fibro for a good 12 or 13 years, and then so found out it's Lyme. So I have been tested for, I'm negative for most of the co-infections except for Epstein-Barr and cytomegalovirus. Epstein-Barr, I was positive at during the Canadian test, and cytomegalo positive at Armin Labs. And I just found out I have mold toxicity, which is brand new to me. The first doctor I saw in Calgary here, she's a TCM doctor, and she does this biomeridian test. And I was kind of thinking it was bogus at the time, but I was brand new to Lyme. So she said, you don't have mold, and that's a good thing. And then I find out with a test, a urine test in the United States, that, oh yeah, there is mold. And I think my work environment is very good chance there's mold there. And I think it's a big part of my puzzle here. Along with that, I've been tested through a naturopath I saw before Lyme for positive for Candida and SIBO. So I've got basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things going on with Lyme. So SIBO, Candida, Epstein-Barr, CMV virus, and mold toxicity. It says Aspergillus on my report. I barely researched what that is, but it's probably something coming from my work. So I work in a meat department, walk-in coolers, a lot of water every night. And you know, probably a lot of dust, and I'm certain there's mold there, because I do feel worse after it gets sprayed down. There's water. So
It's like flat place I can lay in here.
Sorry? That's okay. Someone's got their
No,
microphone
I'm
on.
trying to listen to this right back. I can barely hear him down here anyway, but there's another flat place to be.
All right,
okay,
go
hold
ahead.
on. Are you guys hearing me here?
Yes, we're
green
hearing you fine.
My place here.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're fine. There was just some background noise, I think, on her side.
Oh, okay. So back that's basically where I'm at with all that's going on with me. And the cytomegalo and the mold is new, and the Epstein-Barr is pretty new, and I haven't really started treatment for that. So I go and I see my Lyme or the Rife guy, who's very highly qualified. Let's just say electronic specialist, had a very high position during his career, and now he's retired. He's just helping people thrive. So I go and I see him, and he does a scan on me with something called a quantum magnetic analyzer. So I've talked with you, Chris. I think it looks like something might be similar to what you're dealing with. And
yeah, it's a similar style of technology. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me a set of frequencies for what was sticking out the most. Now I have a lot of heart issues. You know, they can't find anything in Western medicine, but I knowing that it's Lyme, I feel it's the Lyme or these other infections. So he started me on Monday. I would be treating frequencies for atherosclerosis, and a blood circulation cleansing frequency. And he says he never seen anybody as high in atherosclerosis and atherosclerosis as me. And that goes same with, they were able to see a lot of heavy metals. He says I was the highest heavy metal person he'd seen. Thing is, before this, he treats more cancer patients and other things, but he's had a lot of success with cancer. And he says that that's probably a simpler thing to deal with than what I'm dealing with here. Basically for the first 6 of the 7 days of my treatment, so I would do the atherosclerosis, and the blood circulating on Monday. Then Tuesday, I would do inflammation. There's a detox frequency, a detox heavy metal, including mercury frequency, then a detox for the whole body. That's Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I would do the atherosclerosis and a smaller frequency for blood circulation. Then Thursday, I would repeat the first one that has, this is the longer one. It has inflammation, the detoxing, and the heavy metals. Then the only one that was different was I had one for lung support and infection, which I noticed really helped me because I have a lot of issues going on with the lungs, which I'm pretty sure is mold. because it's like it could be bad one day, then it's better the next day, then it's bad for a couple days. It's not consistent with what feels like an infection. He has a normalization frequency, so he has custom made these frequencies, and this is the book. I'll show you right here. This is the book for the GB 4000 right here. So we have all these other frequencies. It's kind of confusing, but so they have, this one girl was explaining to me, so that there are already set frequencies. Where are we here? So these are like set frequencies for all these different things. So you got all these different numbers here. So Candida, you've got that many frequencies, but my guy has more or less found out his own frequencies for Candida. So I've been, I felt I was led to find him one way, and I'm going that way. So for Lyme, this is cytomegalovirus. So yeah, there is the one thing that I've dealt with there, cytomegalovirus, which I haven't started yet. So my confusion, basically to say is, so he would have, had I not reached out to, a Facebook community or to other people, I would have just started on these, who knows where I'd be at right now, but I reached out, and like I said, I've talked to one guy that had 15 years experience on a Facebook group. He says, no, you got to treat the smaller infections first to give your body a better chance of treating the Lyme. And okay, that makes sense. I've got SIBO, and maybe I'll start with digestive stuff and then work to Candida and work to Epstein-Barr, then go to Lyme. But then we have other people like the girl that I was just talking with here saying, oh, well, you start out with Lyme because that's going to knock down your co-infection because that's what's causing the whole thing. So I'm in a real frustrating place because when I message my guide asking him these questions, he doesn't reply to me anymore because he more or less gave me one reply saying, oh, that's hard to say. He says, I would start with the celiac disease, run inflammation, but when you start the Lyme, you can't stop. So it feels to me like in my gut feeling to start with these smaller infections first and then go to the Lyme, but I really don't know. And so if people do go pursue a Lyme, I spent $2,800 and I think I got about $4,000 worth of equipment because I got a GB 4000 with a SR4 amp. My guide apparently, he's only had 2 Lyme people. So the first person he had, apparently she couldn't go and commit to the treatments as often because you got to do at least twice a week. It didn't work out for her, but then the other person, it completely cleared up. So he did clear one person up with it. So I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, if I should just go with the very extensive Lyme frequencies off the bat and just see what the hell happens, or if I should be doing these smaller frequencies first to clear the body out, then do the Lyme, or if it really doesn't matter. So what my suggestion would be is make sure you're talking with someone that knows Lyme and knows co-infections before you go into something like I'm at here with, a guide that basically essentially stopped answering my questions and getting this information avalanche and frustrated because I don't know what to do with it because Lyme disease is just too confusing for, I think, most of the Rife guides, unless they have experience and they know what they're doing with Lyme and co-infections. Because I'm in a place of peril right now. I just don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah. It's too bad that practitioner sort of went dark on you.
If I were to just go at this Lyme right now and we'll see what happens and see how I feel. And if I don't feel the Lyme is gone or the co-infection's gone, I can switch to another machine like we've talked with before, right? And get with someone that's a bit more experienced. Because you're in Ontario and I'm in Alberta here, but I'm willing to make the trek to see people in person that know what they're doing, right? Like
exactly.
It's pretty far between. And again, these Facebook groups, man, it is hush. It is very hush on there. Like I posted one thing with basically what the confusion I'm having about. It's called original Rifer group. They didn't even post my but they didn't even put my post up there because it was probably just too complex, or makes me look like what the hell is this guy talking about, right? But because we're so confusing. You just have one disease and one condition and one or two viruses. Just this thing is so Yeah.
right? Just try to cut through it. Well, thanks for that share, Darren. That's great.
Yeah,
Because you're right in it. You're right in it right now. You're right in it, and you're right in that space where you've got that practitioner, what's going on, and then you're trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff, and they've given you some information, which is helpful. Does your GB4000 have the glass tubes? Does it have the gas or no?
Yeah, it's got like I've got the straps, and I've got these. I've actually got the thing with me here. I'll.
Does it have crystal? Does it have crystal glass tubes though, right?
They just look like they're just metal thingies. So
those are electrodes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't bring the. I didn't bring the. They're just like little metal poles that are like kind of like the size of my middle finger, I would say. Like they're just poles you hold on to. And when I don't feel.
Yeah, those are electrodes. Yeah.
But yeah, I still feel like I'm gonna get to where I need to get to. But like people listening to this, like you get down with a person, make sure they know and they have experience with more than 2 Lyme people, because I'm ready to pull my hair out on this thing. But I'm still glad I got it because it does work. It does help. It definitely, when I hook into the thing, and like some days one frequency, I feel great. I feel sleep better. And one day the frequency is just like, whatever, right? So it's there's a lot more to these things going on than I think a lot of people understand. So.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Let's go over to Mark. Mark, do you have any experience with this?
I don't, and that's why I suggested we should talk about Rife, because I think it may be one of the next things in my treatment strategy, and I wanted to learn about it before I jump in head first.
Sure, that's fair. Thanks for that.
And one thing I did, I'll just to what other people have brought up before, the guide that I saw he said that, let's say you don't have something and you get a frequency for it. He says you have to have, it's not going to harm you, right? Like if you don't have Candida and you get a Candida frequency your way, it's not like you're going to get Candida or it's going to damage the tissue. The way he explained it is it's generally pretty safe to use a Rife machine if you're not exactly bang on with everything. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm just trying to reiterate what more or less he told me.
Yeah, that's fair. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for Darren? Robin has a question.
Not so much a question as just, I just want to thank you, Darren, for being, that was a lot of information. And I really feel so much empathy for you. I think you've got a big battle here on your hands. And I think the energy that you're giving to it is really positive, but I just wanted to I'm sorry that you're having to go through this. That's all.
Thank you. And actually what my guy did say, I don't know if Chris or you guys would agree, or the place that I started getting it done was right when COVID went down. They chopped their Rife treatments to half, and then this business lady that's like a healer got me in touch with the guide. And where I started going to the business, they said, you know what, your best thing, instead of $60 a treatment when it's like 80 or 90 normally, is to buy your own machine. They're very emphasizing buying your own machine, because the amount of money you're going to spend going back and forth to the treatments or whatever, you're going to have this machine for time, and they're very durable. So yeah, I don't know, that I'm glad I bought the machine. It's just figuring it out right now, because I want to help other Lyme people too, right? But it's just a shame there's no system helping us out with this, right?
I see that Jill joined us. Welcome, Jill.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, so we're just going round table in our community share right now. Our topic today is how does Rife assist us? And usually you'd intro yourself if you have Lyme or not, any Rifing experience that you have, and how did it help you?
My son actually is the one who's ill. He's been ill 14 years now. And we do own a Doug Coyle Rife machine that we haven't tried yet. I know nothing about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jen was on here. Jen, are you there? Can you tell us about your Doug Coyle? Have you used that? Let's go to Jen next. Oh, she's going to come on. She was text before.
Oh.
There she comes. Hey, Jen.
Hi, how are you? I do have a Doug Coyle. Okay, my story. It affected my joints. I was 7 doctors in 2 years, which I realized I'm very lucky before I got the true diagnosis. I treated with 8 months of antibiotics and regained most of my life back. My husband has now been tested. He's positive for Lyme. I have 2 daughters that are positive for Lyme. I have a grandson that's positive for Lyme. Yeah, we did get the Doug coil. It helps my husband. He feels an effect from it. I haven't found a frequency that works for me. So that's why I'm here. I am in the US, so I feel kind of like I'm invading y'all's privacy, but
not at all.
I can learn.
We had people from Europe last time.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, I'm just here to learn from y'all's experience.
Yeah.
And I do agree on that diet and healthy living is so key in keeping this thing at bay. But it still keeps raising its ugly head once in a while. So
Yeah, you just got to shake it out of you. So
right.
Okay, all right. So yeah, looking for a coil practitioner. Who's next? Is that Jazz next? Is she there? We're gonna go to Eva. Is Jazz there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so this August I will be
Sorry,
officially
Jazz.
Lyme.
Have you got the do you want to put on your video?
Sure. I was just eating pizza, to be honest. I have vegan.
Oh, really?
Okay, that sounds bad to say, but it was vegan and it was a veggie crust, so it counts.
Good for you. Well, it's okay if you're a messy eater. You don't have to put on your.
No, it's okay. I'm here. Am I not upside down, or are we good?
No, you're good.
Perfect. So yeah, so I'm Jaslyn. I have been almost Lyme-free for almost 1 year. I was sick for at least 7 years. My Lyme was very, very gradual, where I've been playing in tall grass ever since I was a little kid. And it was something that when I was a teenager and everything, everyone just thought it was a developmental issue. And it really hit my joints and my memory. And so before I found the holistic practitioner that helped heal me, I was not doing very good. I was on my way to becoming bedridden, and my memory was almost non-existent. It was like I had Alzheimer's, but I was only 22. And so I thought everyone just thought it was dyslexia. And I went to over 10 doctors and specialists over that 7-year period where I knew in my gut that there was something. And again, I never knew. And my introduction to the Rife machine was also very gradual in a weird way, as in, I would say like 4 months before I found this practitioner, I was on this one science site looking at all these articles coming up, and I see one come up for frequency healing for Alzheimer's. And it was a very interesting read, and I was like, I'll probably never see this again. And then sure enough, 4 months roll around and I sit down on a Rife machine for my first treatment, and my life changed that day. I can honestly say that now it's night and day. My memory is back and like better than it has ever been before. I can't even describe how good it feels to have me back, because before, like when you have Lyme disease, especially neurological, it's like there's a monkey in your head. A lot of emotions that you have and things that you do are not you. And yeah, I was cured of Lyme and all of its co-infections within 2 months and 2 weeks. I was usually it takes longer than that, but I went really, really hard on my diet. So if you guys ever heard of this one book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type, there is a lot of truth behind that. For what type of blood type you have directly influences your immune system response. And so when you are eating things like sugar and gluten and other types of things that your body might not be good with, that affects your gut, which affects your head, which also then feeds the bugs that are inside you that you want to get rid of. So the diet and then the Rife machine, I don't even know what else to say other than is night and day completely. And I was very also lucky to find the person who I did, because it can be really tough when you find, let's say, a practitioner who, you know, hasn't dealt with Lyme for a long time, because again, Lyme is a really tricky thing to treat. And as the frequencies change inside of you of the Lyme, the treatment has to be able to change slightly as well, because everyone is different. And it can be really hard when you're going through the medical system, because they try to do a one fits all type of routine. And that one fits all usually fits hardly any. So anyways, that was my experience, really, really quickly summarized in like 2 minutes. But do you guys have any questions at all about treatment or the Rife machine or anything like that?
Yes.
What machine did you use?
Pardon?
What machine did you use?
The BCX.
BCX. Okay, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I think it was the BCX. Yeah, it was the BCX. I did my Lyme first, and then my co-infections, and then I had other viruses such as CMV and mold and fungus I had to deal with, but those were lower numbers, and so I did those last. I know people who have done viruses and other types of smaller things first before their Lyme treatment, but I am not too sure on why some people do that and some people don't. That's definitely a good question for a practitioner, but yeah. Also, I'm just trying to find a place with a little bit more light.
Well,
Another one doing the Lyme first. You guys are helping me, thanks.
No, of course, of course. I hope I could have helped a little bit.
I think Mark had a question.
Did you herx at all on your first treatments?
Oh yeah. At first, it's never, at least in my experience, it was never as bad as any of my other symptoms. I dealt with worse. And I never knew I had Lyme disease until I met this person. So I was undiagnosed for this entire time. And so just being able to know that it was a symptom and that it will pass really cut all of the herxing effects in half. And honestly, like herxing effects, they are, at least again in my experience, I would take all the herxing in the world if it meant that I could have my health back. Obviously, you can control how much you herx with the intensity and the amount of time you were on the machine for, but that trade-off for feeling bad for a few hours to a day or two, I see it as bad as you were feeling with the herxing, that's how much better you're going to feel after. It's like for me, it was an hour and a half, like specifically an hour and 30 minutes after my treatment, I would start to feel the effects. Other people, it's the next day. And your body sticks to this pretty often, so you can at least plan out your life a little. So he has gotten it down to a pat for the pattern that Lyme generally takes. So yeah, so I had it pre-programmed into the machine. I didn't have to think too much about it, and I was very, very lucky that way. It definitely just comes back down to the type of practitioner you get lucky to find, which is sad that it has to be like that right now.
Yeah. Any other questions for Jazz?
So when you're when you would have the herx, like I'm kind of new to what to do with the herxing. The things that have helped me the most are the infrared sauna, activated charcoal, and just throwing myself into cold, like when I have bad symptoms, especially in the evening, just throw myself into a cold bucket of water. Like if I start my day off, just throwing myself into the coldest bath I can get into for 1 or 2, or as long as I could stand. That's what I do for it. So when you would know the herx was coming, what was your best ways to deal with that? Supplement
Of course. So definitely for myself, it all comes back down to the diet. So most people, when they aren't eating right for their blood type, they have a leaky gut. What that means is that their gut is usually inflamed and they're not getting the nutrients that they need to get. So a huge one was getting a good nutrient source. And so I was on a lot of supplements, and I still am because they're just good to be on. Another one was tea. I was definitely a hardcore tea holic when I was going through treatments, because you would get a lot of like urges to eat this. For me, it was chocolate cake with pudding in the middle. I would crave that like no tomorrow. But that wasn't me craving it. That was the Lyme inside of me that was hungry for it, because they wanted some life source. And so I would, instead I had this nice chocolate tea that I would have. I had a lot of ginger tea as well, a lot of lemon water that is great for detoxing. Cold showers, definitely. And the best thing I did was I slept. Oh my goodness, I slept like no one's business. I know like light exercise as well. Depending on the Rife machine you have, if you really do struggle with detoxing and your lymphatic system starts to back up. I only know this one for the BCX. I'm not sure on the others, but there is usually a lymphatic drainage support system on the Rife. And that is one nice thing about the Rife machine as well. You can also support your body. So there's other supports like the lymphatic, liver, if you start to have trouble detoxing with your liver as well. There's a lot of different options with it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions?
I was just wondering, my son isn't able to sweat, so detoxing is super tough. Has anybody gone through that and been able to break that open? Do you think the Rife could help with that?
I know of a few people who have had that issue throughout their treatments. For what they did, I think for one of them, it was lymphatic support really helped them. Another one is just stay very hydrated, drink lemon water. The cold showers as well can really help your detox as well as your nervous system if you do have issues with your nerves. I'm not too sure on any other suggestions. So if anyone else has any more, please.
Have you tried?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Have you tried the infrared sauna before? That's been one of my biggest things. I have one at my garage. I just don't have it set up. I don't have room where I'm living right now to set it up. But I go to a wellness studio and get a good deal on infrared saunas, and I do an infrared sauna. My day is just so much better. And I mean, I've never had a problem sweating, but an infrared sauna is gonna make, if anything's gonna make you sweat, it's an infrared sauna.
No, we tried one. I had a friend loan me one for a couple of years, and he just gets overheated to the point of fainting. There's still no sweating.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I didn't sweat for years.
Yeah.
And I had no BO, like nothing, because I just wasn't able, my body wasn't able to detox. And same thing, like I would get I could hardly stay in a sauna. I would just get overheated and feel like claustrophobic because nothing was, like the heat wasn't escaping. And I've been working with a Chinese doctor now for 2 years, and she has me on a diet that's like all foods that just have the quality of heat. So nothing that's of cold quality, which may not work for everyone, but for myself, I only eat hot food and hot beverages, which is controversial because everyone thinks salad is so healthy, but the digestive system is at a really high temperature. And so for someone who's really energy deficient, having to break down raw food, it just takes up so much energy. So I've noticed a huge difference in my entire system. But one thing that changed was being able to sweat and having BO, like for the first time in so long. And now I have an infrared sauna and it's so helpful, and I'm able to sweat and I can stay in there now for like 45 minutes. So working with her has really made a difference. I don't know whether that would be true for everyone. I know my friend who works with her too, she had the same response. So maybe Chinese medicine could be a good.
Yeah, and sometimes that depends on body type. So you really need a detox specialist maybe, who's Chinese or Korean medicine to help you there.
They're really good, or the woman I see and most Chinese doctors are really good at like they're really intuitive in how they tell what's going wrong in the body and the blockages that are there. So yeah, that was a big one for me.
We did try a Chinese fella up in Red Deer, and he went for acupuncture twice a week for months.
Yeah,
help.
acupuncture never worked for me.
That's sort of different. Yeah, that's sort of,
I learned
acupuncture is a bit
an
different.
entire year, yeah. But diet, I mean, diet was like the biggest thing ever is like, yeah, no sugar, no gluten, no dairy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jill, are you in Calgary too?
We're northeast of Calgary in Three Hills.
Yeah, Darren's in Calgary. There he is.
Well, we may
Okay.
have to put our
There you
minds
go.
together.
All right, let's go to Jen. Jen, you haven't used your coil yet, you said, Jen. Or you have?
I'm sorry. Yes, I have tried using it, but it doesn't, I don't feel any effect from it at all. So that's why I'm thinking I just need to, my husband feels the effect right away. Oh, and when you were talking about detoxing, what works the best for me? Well, my Lyme affects my joints. It affects my husband's muscles. What works best for me is sweating, which I know, right? Sweating and then doing a skin scrub afterwards to keep the bugs from soaking back in. And also TMI, I'm sorry, but organic coffee enemas. That helps get the toxins out of my system as well. And another thing that really helps with my joints is apple cider vinegar. That helps a lot with my joints. I can feel when I'm not doing that. So anyway.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Any questions for Jen? Are you there, Stacy? Would you like to share?
Hi,
Hey,
can you hear me?
yes, great.
Okay. I actually don't have any experience with the Rife machine. I've just heard about it, so I'm just on trying to gain some information.
Yeah, fair. Well, thanks for being here.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we have Kim.
I did do Rife, but I don't know if it was helpful. So I don't have a lot to add. So I don't even know if I have Lyme disease. I'm very confused about that. I mean, I can definitely know that I'm affected by mold and I can feel that. But about I don't feel any pain. I just feel more cognition and balance issues. And I don't know what's causing it.
So what Rife machine did you use for a bit then? Do you recall? Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
It was a few years ago.
Okay. Let's see here. I think we've gone through everybody, Brad. And Brad, you've talked about your experience, right?
I have, yep.
Okay, good. Well, I think we've done round robin. I know you took notes, copious notes probably through that.
I've got some here, yep. You probably got a couple as well.
One or two, yeah.
Good.
Good. It's good. Well, thanks everyone for being here. I mean, if we looked at the sheet and what we're going to do next, I'm not sure what we'd like to do here. Let me show what I've got. We look at the next topics. We've got the testing topic. We've got what's useful for Lyme in the heart, diagnosed diseases. What were you diagnosed with for before you got diagnosed with Lyme? Nutrition for living with Lyme. So like a nutritional diet. What helps with digestion issues and what motion exercise is beneficial? Any favorites, requests, other requests?
I think testing and what were we diagnosed with before?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sort of tied together.
That's true, actually.
They do, don't they?
Good point. Okay, well, we'll,
It's good.
yeah, we'll put something together. Brad and I from those two then. That's good
Thanks
feedback.
so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. We're gonna keep going. Those bugs never sleep. So we do, and they probably do at some point, but I mean, we just got to keep going on it. Okay, good. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for your shares.
Thank you, everyone.
And best with everyone, and take care. And we love